What's up, y'all? This week's episode of the No Chaser Podcast is brought to you by AdamandEve.com. They got everything from lingerie to vibrators to sex toys to lube, all the freaky dicky things you need in the bedroom. All right, and I got a special deal for y'all. Use the code CHASER and you get half off. That's 50% off a purchase of one item, and you get free shipping in the US and Canada. All right, enjoy the podcast, you little freaky dicky filthy McNasties. The song that doesn't end.
Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. Oh shit, you kind of know.
This goes
on and on, my friend.
Some people
started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that never ends. It doesn't.
It's okay. It's okay, Blaze. It's okay. You almost had it.
Why did Rick all of a sudden just clothes change, has a top hat, and looks like he was singing in a quartet?
Because that's how you got to do that one.
That was good.
Shout out to Lamb Chop. Lamb Chop. You ever watch Lamb Chop, Nikki Blades?
Yeah.
So you knew that song?
Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's just better when you two sing. I don't need it that bad.
The people want
you
the
two.
Nikki vocals.
The people want you guys.
No, read the comments. Nikki got to get in on this.
They be like, damn, y'all had a good 3-part harmony going right there, even though it wasn't. It was all of us singing at the same time. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the No Chaser Podcast. I'm Simply De La Ghetto.
I'm Ricky Shutt.
And I'm Nikki Blades.
How we feeling, man?
It might be never.
It might be never.
We'll check that later.
I thought it does.
I thought it was never.
It might be
ends.
never.
I hear does it, but it might be never. We'll check it later.
Never ends.
Doesn't it? We'll check it later.
Okay, somebody in the comments is gonna correct us. So we.
Oh yeah, they love that.
The thing about it is, we all got coronavirus right now, so we don't.
Me.
Whoa, that's a.
I got Michelob virus.
I got the Tecate virus.
So
Dos Equis virus.
Sometimes
I got a Michelada virus, guys. Got some flavor on my virus, fool.
This fool, fucking Heineken virus over here.
Oh my god, that's so dumb.
you guys are so stupid.
It almost doesn't feel right joking about it.
Because that's why sometimes I can't comment on what you guys are saying.
By the time this comes out, it'll be contained.
That's
hopefully.
What I'm saying.
Hopefully.
Every time there's a scary virus coming out of China, the shit don't really, like, bird flu never really got over here.
SARS. Is that bird flu? I don't know. But China, y'all gotta chill, man.
What the fuck?
No. Did you see that they were saying that it might have been started from this girl that was eating a bat? She ate a bat.
Really?
She ate a bat.
I've seen that.
Like, hey.
Ugh. It makes me so, look, it makes me mad. Look, I'm not Chinese.
I'm Chinese.
But like, oh yeah, you are part
I am
Chinese.
Chinese.
But they always want to, you know what I'm saying? They always want to blame us. I mean, so, you know, to
Who was blaming? Wait, what article did you read?
No, I'm saying it's just another excuse to be like, those motherfucking Chinese, dirty Chinese eating bats and shit, getting diseases
Wait,
are brought
time
over
out.
here.
Did you see how fast they literally started building a whole containment hospital within like outbreak? Here's the case, multiple. There were so many cranes building. Like, if that happened here, for real, do you think that they're gonna really? They'd be like, "Wow, that sucks."
Nah, if it happened here, it probably would have went down faster than that. We don't play.
Yeah, we're not trying to get no diseases out here.
That's true.
But China definitely went harder this time than they did with SARS.
They went hard.
SARS, they did like a year of, hey, shut up, nigga, don't tell nobody, before they went into containing shit.
They also put out some like statement that was like, if anybody doesn't reveal that they have the disease, they will, it was like, they will suffer dishonor and like some shit.
That's how it sounded.
That's really pretty dishonor was the word.
It might not have been dishonor.
It definitely probably wasn't dishonor.
But it was something
if
like,
you don't tell us you got that corona, you dirty bitch. You's a dirty bitch.
In Chinese, yeah, that. Shit, man. I don't know. It's scary times.
Very, very scary.
Because you feel like, look, I haven't been to the doctor in like 10 years.
Mm.
Yeah, is that like, I never had insurance, you feel me?
Yeah.
So I just never went. The only time I really, was going was when I was single and getting STD checks like every couple months. So it's like, that was really the only
I feel like we have to say this every time anything medical gets brought up. Please go to the damn doctors and don't look at Tim as an example for anything.
Well, or look at me an example because I'm healthy as shit. So maybe we don't need the motherfucking government all up in our shit.
When do you ever get a disease? When you go to the hospital. If you don't go to the hospital, you ain't got no disease.
You will never know. And check this out. When was the last time you met somebody with AIDS?
Do you wanted to go there?
Do you have any friends with AIDS?
Yeah. They don't say it.
That's really all the list of things that you went.
There's
You
so
said
many
you know
people with AIDS.
Really?
Fucking asshole.
I don't know anybody with AIDS.
Haven't you started seeing there's a lot when when there's medicine now advertised on television for it is way more common than you think.
I don't know anybody with. Well, that's a lie. I do.
Yeah.
I did go to high school with somebody that had HIV. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Damn,
Stupid boy.
damn, you really were like, you know what? How far can I go with this?
You know what, y'all?
No.
Diseases are fake. Never take care of yourself.
Right.
No.
I'm like,
Okay,
what?
But actually, do you though?
It's not for me to discuss with
Okay, that's true.
anybody.
That's true.
That's one of those things. Okay, I always say I'm in and out of the hospital constantly with my family. My family, constantly. Dad is in the hospital. It's been back to back to back to back. My sister has congestive heart failure. And if she wouldn't have gone in when she had shortness of breath, she wouldn't have found out that her heart was only working at 13%. So we joke, but there are times where it's like,
No,
yeah,
that's facts. No, I'm joking. I'm
Yeah.
joking. 'Cause
He's joking.
my dad had the same shit. We were pressuring him to go to the hospital
Yeah.
for the longest time, and he didn't want to. Then he found
Right.
out
Yes.
basically the same shit as your sister.
Right. So I remember when I was texting you and I was telling you to make sure that your dad just like stays up on everything because my dad has diabetes as well. And diabetes is one of those diseases that everybody kind of is like, oh, you fat, you got diabetes.
Yeah.
But it's like, have you ever seen
Everybody tells me that. I freaking don't, all right?
but you see a lot of people that like that's not serious to so many people, right?
Yeah,
They're just like
it's so serious.
It's so serious. It's crazy. Like my dad just went back, and you're like really susceptible to a lot of other things. So he had pneumonia, and then we had to fight for a year to try to keep his feet. So he, when they get any injuries to their feet, it literally is like they start chopping off toes. Doctors really don't give a shit. They're like, oh, okay, this is gonna take too long. Here, we can either cut the foot off once the toe goes, the foot goes, then to the knee, then you lose the whole leg.
Yeesh.
So we joke about the doctor, but I spend way too much time in and out of the hospital, like weekly. It is exhausting.
I got my checkup scheduled, my first checkup in like 10 years scheduled too.
Good job.
And I need it because I've been for the longest time. I thought if I'm not eating junk food, then I'm eating healthy, right? Because I was on my bougie food kick for a minute. So, and I thought if I'm eating expensive ass food, this shit's good for me, right? But then I failed to realize that a lot of it's like mad buttery, a lot of it's mad fatty. So when I went to go get some blood work when I was doing some like acne medication, the lady was like, "Hey, your cholesterol is a little higher than it should be for someone as tiny as you." And I was like, "Well, shit." I'm
so surprised I don't have high cholesterol.
Man,
I don't even have hypertension, but I'm close. so I have to chill.
you got just really energized tension.
I got low tension.
I swear, every time I go, I'm like, so who's in the hospital? I now have a juicer. I have a blender. I make my own food at home most of the time. I have ginger every day, a lot of vitamins. Man, I don't know. I still go and get checked up because it runs in my family and I'm terrified of having to deal with heart problems. So I'll work out. And I don't work out because I really just always want to work out. I'm like, I know that if I don't, I see what happens. Like when your body starts not responding to like stretching and shit like that. There's nothing worse than when you're like, why my back hurt for no reason? Oh, because I haven't worked out in the last 7 months.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I should start working out.
Yeah.
You ain't never seen those people that do yoga? Like the older people that do yoga and how they're very flexible and you see them.
But I'm
they're
saying
like 80.
I'm saying like I don't do that ever. So it's like I've never been like, shit, my back hurts because of my lack of yoga.
So I can do this yoga right now. I should have been doing yoga.
That's so me. I'm over here. I'm like, yep, I'm upside down in a headstand over there and not getting ones thrown at me. It's just for my health and not for my bills.
Hey, but real quick, man, I need a break. Do you need a break?
I could use a break.
A break from your inbox or that never-ending laundry cycle or that exhausting amount of social media you got to keep up with every day? Well, it's time to prioritize a little me time to help you recharge. And Dipsea can help you focus on something more pleasurable than whatever it is left on your to-do list with some sexy stories, maybe some audio erotica you can put on to take your mind off all the just the drawl that you got to deal with every day.
Yeah, man. And on Dipsea, the stories are relatable and immersive, so you feel like you're right there. And there's something for everyone, whoever or whatever you're into.
And listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering a 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/nochaser. That's a 30-day free trial when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/nochaser. dipseastories.com/nochaser.
Say that last one with an audio erotica voice.
dipseastories.com/nochaser.
Bang, bang. What's up, y'all? I know we're all going through some things nowadays, and, do you experience stress? Do you have anxiety, chronic pain, or do you have trouble sleeping at least once a week? Well, you are not alone because many of us do. I know how it is when you're laying in bed, you're trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden, all the worries and cares from your whole week and month and life just start cycling through your brain. You're thinking about your job, you're thinking about all types of shit, and you just can't sleep. You're stressed. Okay? Well, that's why I got Feels for y'all, all right? Feels is premium CBD delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness, okay? Not gonna lie, guys. I have been having trouble sleeping lately, and I just lay there, you know what I'm saying? Think about all types of bullshit, and your boy needs sleep, or else my Asian eyes look extra Asian. People come at me, they're like, yo, you look tired, and I'm like, that's fucked up. Why are you telling me I look tired? That's not a nice thing to say, even if I was tired, okay? Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There's no high, hangover, or addiction, okay? And just for you guys, I got a special deal. Feels has me feeling my best every day, and it can help you too. Become a member today by going to feels.com/nochaser, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/nochaser to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping, all right? That is feels.com. Well, speaking of healthy looking individuals, I got a lovely guest. For today. I actually randomly started watching this person's videos on YouTube. Like, I was randomly in my suggested shit, recommended shit, and I ended up watching fucking 10 of your videos. I was just like, I'm gonna watch another one. So I was like, let me hit her up, come to the podcast, let's talk about it. So make some noise for Blaire White.
Yay!
Podcast is so chipper. I love it.
It's fake.
Oh, okay.
Putting on.
Sup?
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for coming. Good. How
for
are
having
you?
me. I'm really good.
You've been on YouTube for how long now?
4 years.
4 years? Yeah. How would you describe your content to people who don't watch your videos?
Oh my God. I feel like I go into many different genres. I do lifestyle content just about my life. I do LGBT content because I'm transgender. I do political and social commentary, funny videos, just everything.
You would be our first ever transgender guest on the podcast.
Oh my God, where's my trophy?
Yes.
Pick one of these many things.
Do you drink?
Yes, I do drink. I would love to drink.
Okay.
Sure.
Tequila or hypnotic? Because we kept this one. We didn't.
I mean, we gotta
tequila.
keep it till it's gone.
All right.
It's
Let's see how many people actually
So
ask for
look,
the
that's not
hypnotic.
our favorite tequila. We usually got the good stuff here,
Get your cup.
Sorry.
but we got that.
Okay, I'll try it. And if I throw up, whatever.
If you
It's
throw
only
up-
you and I drinking.
That's
so.
good content if I throw up.
yeah, that would be good content.
It's such a YouTube thing to say.
First transgender guest vomits everywhere.
Oh, clickbait.
But it wouldn't be bait, it would be facts. I think I started watching, I saw a video of you speaking on transgender people switching and playing certain sports. And
Strong.
yeah.
Yes.
And just even posting on the No Chaser Instagram and asking people if they had questions for you, I feel like you were very a divisive person. You feel me?
Oh, for sure.
Some people were like, "Oh my God, we love her as part of the community." Other people were like, "Why would you choose her as your first transgender guest?"
I saw someone posted they had a diss track about me in the comments too, which was really funny.
That girl
hilarious.
replied to everybody's comment about her and was like, "Listen to my diss track. Listen to my diss track."
Oh yeah, that person's insane.
I want to listen to it now.
So
Terrible.
tell us why are certain members of the transgender community so mad at you?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I often call myself like the black sheep of the community because I feel like I talk about things that a lot of us feel, but are a bit more taboo to say. Like, you know, the idea that someone can like transition at like 30 and have the full benefit of like male puberty and then go like box women and like break their skulls, which is literally a thing. I'm not even being dramatic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't really say that's bad.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to, but I do. And then a certain segment hates you, and then a certain segment appreciates it. So give and take.
Yeah, you know, I think that's why I got into your video because I was like, oh, she's making sense right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, yeah, of course, in today's world, you feel like you're supposed to be like, okay, yes, do whatever you want, be whoever you want, right? But then you were the first person I saw saying like, hey, it's fucked up that this person gets to develop full man muscles and then
go box chicks. Like,
Right.
what? Like, and that boxer in particular, her name is Fallon Fox. She transitioned at 30. So I'm using a real case. And she broke a woman's skull. She was boxing.
Holy shit.
And she just, in 2020, got named like the bravest athlete of the year or something. So it's like, you know, there's a conversation to be had about whether or not that's like too far, basically.
right.
And a lot of people who aren't trans don't feel comfortable stating their opinion if it's too far or not. So I feel like I have more of a leeway to, because I am trans, talk about it. Makes sense.
Okay, so how old were you when you started transitioning, or when you knew that you were going to transition?
Oh my God. Okay. So I knew I was different probably around age 5, really, really young, kind of like the cliche story, like really, really young. But I didn't have the words, the vocabulary to really describe what that was until I was probably 18. And then I finally got the courage to take the plunge or whatever at like 20. So and I'm 26 now. So
when you say take the plunge, what does that mean?
it's transition, you know, like there's a lot that goes into it. There's hormones or surgery. There's changing things legally or whatever.
Do you feel like because you said you knew you were different from when you were 5, right?
Yeah.
So do you feel like when maybe like kids are still kind of going through puberty, do you feel like they should hit a certain age before they start doing hormones, or?
Well, the thing about going on hormones, and if we're talking male to female, is it sterilizes you, so you can never have kids. So there's a conversation to be had about whether or not like someone who's 13 has the capacity to make the choice if they're ever going to have kids or not. Right. So that's one thing I also talk about, how it's probably wiser to wait. Especially in today's world, I feel like the definition of transgender is expanding, and a lot of kids I feel like are falling into it, and it's not really them,
Right.
and it won't be in the end. Actually, just
they might just feel a little different, but they're not necessarily transgender.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of transgender influencers and celebrities now, and to a certain extent, it's glamorized, and like, you know, I guess I could be considered one of them. Like, I'm on YouTube and I have a big platform, but I try not to glamorize it. My last video actually, I interviewed a girl who transitioned from female to male at 15. And then by the time she was 19, discovered it was the wrong choice for her. But she had already taken testosterone. Her voice was as deep as a man's voice could really get. Like, she sounds completely male. She has facial hair. So, you know, and her life is permanently changed because of that. So it's like there's a real conversation to be had, and I feel like some people would rather just say live and let live, but when it's kids, it's like, I don't know.
Do you feel that nowadays there was a point in time where it was like kids were meant to be seen and not heard, and a lot of it was because they used to believe that children weren't able to make their own decisions yet. Now in 2020, every child has access to the world and can voice their opinions. I know it's wrong to want to say like they shouldn't be able to make that choice so young, but do you feel that this is the time where adults really have to have a serious conversation and say, if we allow these surgeries or these shots, that there should be some regulation involved so that there aren't cases where a 13-year-old went to a doctor and it got approved and now she's turning around at 19 suing them?
Absolutely. There's a really sort of disturbing statistic coming out of the UK right now, where we're seeing just an explosion of trans teens and kids. The most popular gender clinic in the UK had 77 children as patients in 2010. Guess how many there are now?
3,000.
Yeah. Actually, there's actually even more than that. There's 2,000 now with a 3,000 waiting list.
Holy shit.
So
That's crazy.
yeah. So, you know, there's maybe a certain conversation to be had about like there could be an expected increase just based on like more acceptance and more knowledge of
Right.
what it is. But I don't think
Here's
so.
the thing. I'm all down for kids expressing themselves however they want, living their best life, but also kids are dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't even like
it again. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't even like when a fucking a 5-year-old is modifying their food order. You know what I'm saying? Like when I used to work at California Pizza Kitchen.
terrible.
Nah, listen. When I was at California Pizza Kitchen and I would hear like a little like 6-year-old talking about
No
"Actually,
arugula,
yeah,
please."
can I get my salad? I'm like, just eat the food, baby.
That's hilarious.
You know what else? There, as we continue to do more studies, they say like the human brain isn't fully developed until it's like 25.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't even be making choice. Okay, so my parents told me I don't have any tattoos. I know this is very small in comparison, but tattoos. They would always say that it's a life choice, it's a forever thing. And are you going to like this when you're 30? Are you going to like this later in life? So you should wait until a certain age and then do it. And then once you do it, you'll know if you like it or not.
Yeah.
I've not gotten any, because there was a point in time where I wanted to get blasted. My whole body was about to be tatted up, and that could have changed my whole future. And even though it's on a smaller scale, it's something to compare. Permanent decisions at a young state or an impulsive time. Do we tell somebody what to do with their body? Or, how do we go about that?
Well, the interesting thing is we already do. Like you said, like if you're not 18, you can't get a tattoo. If you're not 16, you can't drive. If you're not 18, you can't get a piercing. So there's just something to be said about like, you know, these things are arguably even less impactful than changing your gender.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, there just needs to be, I feel like, and honestly, it is causing a lot of backlash toward the trans community. A lot of people feel like things are going too far and it's causing resentment, which is where I try to step in and be like, we don't all feel this way. A lot of it is also people speaking on our behalf that want to be super, super woke and fight for us for things that we didn't even ask for them to fight for us for. You know what I mean? So it's just about bringing some moderation, because if not, you're going to see more and more detransition stories in the future. Even just recently, in the past few months, there's like a huge increase of YouTubers telling their detransition stories. Just in the past few months, there's a bunch, and they're all kids. They're all kids, which is scary.
So what do you think needs to happen for that to happen? Because like I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of the people who oppose what you're saying. And I kind of get it. When I think about any group who's hated for being who they are, they never want to say anything against it because it gives fuel to everybody else. Yeah. See, even, you know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. And that's so dangerous because you end up doing things like that. You end up saying, let them be, let them do what they want, how they feel, when it's very risky to do that shit. How do we get to a point where they don't feel a need to do that?
Laws. I feel like there needs to be laws against it. There's also, you know, I feel like there's ways of dealing with. So to be specific, when we're talking about trans people, we're talking about a mental condition called gender dysphoria. That is what I felt at 5 when I said I felt different. That is the feeling of like an incongruence between what's going on up here and everywhere else, in every way, really. And it's really, really distressing. And it's something that if you are a kid who's feeling it, there's a really high suicide rate among people who feel that. So you have to take that into account as well, and give those kids help, give those kids therapy, and, you know, whatever vehicle you can do to help them. But when you say because of that, we open the floodgates and say that, you know, transition should be the thing, I think there should be laws in the same way there's laws against tattoos and piercings. And yes, not the same thing, but if anything, it's a bigger deal to transition. The laws.
Oh, completely.
You know, I think one of the issues is that in the woke day and age, right? Everyone thinks everything should be black and white. Yeah. When there's so much gray area, right?
Which is the opposite of what being woke is supposed to be. You're supposed to understand the gray, and we live in the gray. We don't live in black or white. We live in the gray.
Right. People feel like, you know, hey, if you are accepting of transgender, then everything about it.
Everything
They
has to
find
go.
no questions asked, right?
Yeah.
And like I feel like that attitude is carried through like so many issues, and like that's silly when you know there's a lot of complex situations going on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different, you know?
It's the same thing as, you know, just another sort of like idea that comes out of the woke crowd that people are just forced to accept is like that if you don't date trans people, you're suddenly transphobic. If and you don't have to tell people before you have sex with them or date them that you're trans. Like that to me is so crazy. Right. And it's never made sense to me. Even in my early transition days when maybe I would have been more prone to sort of falling into this sort of like more like, for lack of a better term, cultish aspect of everything. Okay. Like even that to me always was just really insane.
So how would you tell dudes in the beginning when you were like starting to date somebody?
Oh, I never had that experience because actually I dated only 2 people before I transitioned. And then the next one was my fiance who's in the room, not on camera, but in the room. And he was actually a fan. They say not to do that.
Well, thanks, bro.
They love you.
Yeah.
I know, I was kidding.
But his whole family like knew who I was at the time too. So it just, everything worked out super easily.
Shout out to your fiance. How long you guys been engaged now?
About 2.5 years.
Okay, congrats.
Yeah. Wedding soon.
Okay, for sure. All right, well, I got some questions for you from the Instagram.
Need a drink?
The Instagram followers.
Instagram's nicer than Twitter though. Twitter is where the question's gonna be like, so when are you gonna kill yourself?
Oh God.
God.
I've been using that block filter so much.
Same.
I love it.
It's my favorite.
It's so amazing.
All right, well, like we said, there was a diss track towards you. You know, hey, speaking of transgender diss tracks,
There's more?
well, do you remember when?
It's my favorite genre.
Do you remember that video game, the GameStop?
Oh yeah.
So it's ma'am.
Yeah.
It's ma'am. She
Yes.
is a rapper and has come out with multiple like rap songs about like transgender stuff.
Hey,
What?
why you hating?
You know what? I'd support everyone's hustle, whatever.
No, y'all got a battle now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He didn't write the diss track.
You can't be dissing people's tracks if you ain't got no fire yourself.
True. Oh my god. Good point.
All right. Well, let's see. Somebody said, "What are your thoughts on celebrities?" Someone named Ziggy Sketches says, "What are your thoughts on celebrities that come out as non-binary or gender fluid for clout, then never mention it again?" What is non-binary again? Just
Who even knows? I'm trans and I don't know. I can't even keep up with it. Non-binary is like people who identify as like, I guess not a man or a woman, and
They don't like labels.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be the they.
that would be the they them crowd and the Zer crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, we say that.
But Zer, some of them use those.
Zeezer. Yeah,
But my thoughts on celebrities coming out. I mean, it's a quick way to get yourself in the headlines. Like the guy from Queer Eye did it. The one with the long hair, the one who looks like Jesus. He did it. Said he was non-binary. Never spoke of it again. Then said he had AIDS or HIV or something. But
Oh, what a coincidence.
yeah,
We were just talking about that.
right. And then who else did it? Sam Smith did it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Sam Smith came out as what?
Non-binary.
Oh.
And it's like, you know, they're still the same person. There's not like a transition taking place. So sometimes I get peeved when people say that's the same thing as me when it's like, it's so different.
Oh, I feel you.
You know what I mean? It's like, damn. Because I saw Sam Smith at the Abbey like last week. And it's like, he's just like a regular like dude. And it's like, it's so different than what I am. Why are we considered the same
He
thing?
puts on heels sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you're saying it feels like more of a clout move because it's like them saying that does nothing, changes nothing.
Yeah. And it's, you know, I see it as a little bit of attention whoring without the real struggle.
Right.
So.
You know, I first learned about transgender, like specifically that when I was in college, right? So this was a while back, you know what I'm saying? But look, I'm Thai, so I've been dealing with like with look,
Forever.
my dad
Filipino.
took me, before transgender was the term, before it was like transsexuals. You feel me? That's the term was when I was growing up. And then it's like when I was in Thailand, my dad took me to a show of all like transgender like ladies.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah. Oh, and they're beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I remember like my dad being like, I was like 8. And I was like, what do you think of what do you think of these women? I'm like, it's great. And he's like, do you think they're pretty? I'm like, yeah. He's like, those all were men. I was like,
Is that why you brought me here, Dad?
Oh my gosh.
well, there's like a famous like drag show, not even just drag, like those are all like like transitions, like, and it's called Alcazar. It's out in Pattaya in Thailand, and that was the whole show. So it's like,
Yeah.
And then I remember going to college, and my human sexuality class. There was a little section about like you were saying the what is the that you had the disorder or what
Gender dysphoria.
Gender dysphoria, and it was a whole thing about like you feel different on the inside than what you are on the outside, right? And I remember first learning about that back then, being like, what? Like I'd never heard of it up until that point.
Yeah.
And then I feel like for the past 4 years, it became like all of a sudden it was like you were hearing about it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Where when I was younger, I'd never ever heard of it. Why do you feel like it got such a hot button issue all of a sudden?
Well, I think it's been heavily politicized. I think a lot of the struggle for gay rights and gay marriage, et cetera, was over, and it was kind of like on to the next thing. And I think sort of this particular debate has just gone like crazy because you're adding things in like non-binary, which the way non-binary is different than being transgender is the fact that transgender has existed throughout history in every country, isolated and connected. It's always been a thing. Non-binary, 2014 and on.
Well, when I think about the trans community, you said Thailand, Filipinos. I grew up in Hawaii. It's very common. It's not something that we were never aware of. But everybody has some story or a family member or somebody. So do you feel that also it has to do with location? Like now is it becoming more of a thing because it's more mainstream and maybe to the US? Because again, Hawaii is a part of it. But when we talk about it, it's never been. My dad would talk about how some of his friends growing up had better skincare than most of the women, and was like, "Yo, some of you ladies need to start taking better care of yourselves. There's no reason why anybody is he just would rough skin, or
dry,
but how like the care and self care. And sometimes my mom spoke about how much more feminine some were that they were around growing up, like their friends, and was like, wow, she learned more about being a woman from somebody who wasn't that at that time than she did from her mom or anybody else. So growing up, that was never something that we didn't hear about, but hearing that it's so uncommon now is what is kind of confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has sort of like, even when I was young and didn't know what transgender was, there was always sort of this like baseline knowledge of like, it's a little more rare, but there's a certain segment of the population that like men who want to become women and vice versa. Like everyone just kind of knew that existed. Right. But now you're getting into sort of like the nitty gritty and like every little detail, and it's a constant debate on the public forum. And it's just really, I mean, to a certain extent, it's like a big reason why I have a career right now, because people are talking about it. So I'm not going to act like I don't want it to be, a conversation. That's why I'm here. But it is frustrating. And sometimes I do think things would be better if we went back to the days where like, we just kind of had the baseline knowledge and not the like, let's debate every little thing and microscope it.
Let me ask you something. How you feel about Dave Chappelle jokes on his special?
I thought his special was so funny. I know a lot of the transgender community was upset at some of his jokes that he made. Yeah, well, they're crybabies because at the end of the day, and it's so sad, rest in peace now, she actually killed herself, which is so dark. But the trans woman that was actually spoken about in the comedy special, who was his friend, approved of every single joke he made about her. And it was a thing that he, I assume, wouldn't have done without her consent.
Right.
And it was real, and it was funny, and there was so much truth to it. The whole like, it's like the LGBT is like a car. Right. You have the G's that are driving, it's like the gay men, and then you have the lesbians who are like complaining, but they're going along with it. And then you have the bisexuals who are like just kind of whatever. And then you had the T who was kind of really holding things back a little bit. I thought it was funny and actually a really on point analogy, especially coming from someone who's not in the community. I was like, damn, he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because I feel like, of course, there's gonna be who would you say? I said like a bunch of intro sentences and didn't complete one thought.
Is this for editing purposes? It's not sure how I'm intro.
But also I feel like there, of course, if we were to bring on a certain a different transgender guest that looked at your views differently, like they would have a lot to say about it, right? I feel like you're laid back with it right now. You know what I'm saying?
I guess. I mean, I've just never had it in me to be hyper offended by everything. Because also, like, you have to understand, like, a lot of this stuff is, like, literally only exists online. A lot of this debate and a lot of these conversations are, like, it's so internet based. Whereas, like, my real life, it's like being trans doesn't come up at all.
Man, look, that's facts.
At all.
When you talk about all types of stuff, right? Because even like being on Twitter, you learn about 20 different terms you never heard before in your entire life. You know what I'm saying? That like shit that I learned that I am or that someone else is. I'm like, damn, I didn't know I was all that.
It's just a place to be offended.
Shit, yeah.
Everybody's just offended on Twitter.
There's a good amount of people who like to be the victim. And sometimes you find out you're the victim and you're like, oh,
right.
Shit, yeah, okay, yeah. Let me hear you say something, bro. I'm about to get mad about this. And it's just like, yo, relax.
Or people that aren't mad until they read something that makes them think they should be mad.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like you weren't upset about this until you read a fucking think piece about it. Then
You're living your life just fine.
Yeah, then you weren't upset about it.
Then you feel you kind of have to make it. Well, I feel like a lot of people act like they have to choose a side, that they're forced to, that if I don't respond to this issue or if I don't say something about this, then I'm for it.
It's a lot of that too.
All right, let's see what they talking about on here, these Instagram comments.
Just play the diss track.
At this point,
It's like what we're really here for.
Okay, let's hear the diss track.
Oh my goodness.
No,
are we gonna listen to it?
it's so rude.
No, I'm here for it. Actually, I haven't really listened to it.
You want to hear it?
If you want to, it's up to
No,
you.
we don't have to get this girl no attention. I'm not trying to get.
Okay. Make her life.
Let's see.
She's so pissed right now.
Oh my god! Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay. Let's see. JTosh1468. I love Blaire and want to ask if she's interested in being on Big Brother since she's friends with JC.
I don't know if they'd have me.
Why not?
I don't know. I feel like they kind of steer away from controversial people. Although JC was. My friend JC, he was on season 20.
Why was he controversial?
He asked it's funny we're friends now. He asked a girl if she was a tranny.
Oh.
And she like wasn't. And he was on TMZ for it and people were mad at him or whatever.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
A lot of people get into trouble being on Big Brother.
Yeah,
You
because
know
they film you 24/7. So I don't think I would do it. I feel like I'm pretty comfortable like living my life, filming my videos from the comfort of my own home rather than, a lot.
Allowing somebody to edit everything you say and use it against you for views? You wouldn't want to do that?
24/7. I would definitely be on edge.
Hell no. I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like this.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking either.
I am hungry now. That's all you're going to hear me say.
Time for sleep. Suspicious Swordfish says, Blaire, what's the most common misconception people have about you?
Oh my God. There's so many. Maybe that I speak out of malice or hatred or even anger.
Okay.
Whereas I really try to go into everything with the intention of, and people see it the exact opposite, which is so crazy, but I really do go into things trying to actually normalize trans people. Like by me talking about like kids transitioning or not and trans women in sports and stuff, it's really to sort of fight against the more extremes because I feel like you have to correct the extremes to make people realize it's not really as extreme as it is. You know what I mean? So I come into it with a place of actually fighting for trans people. It's just that it doesn't appear that way if you're so into the mindset of anything said against the community is hateful. When it's really, I'm just being like, that's crazy. It's not us.
That's that victim mentality again.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot to your comfort. You are comfortable with yourself, so you don't have to be mad about everything.
Yeah.
And you don't have to feel away. Like I identify because being black, we go through that. It's like there's a bunch of black people who want to be mad anytime somebody not black says black. Like that's all you gotta do is say black and we're pissed because how dare you? You don't know anything about that. But it's like we can't always be right. We can't always be the victim. Everything we do isn't the way it's supposed to be. And when you act like it is, it just gives people the fuel to be like, see, it's fucking ridiculous. They want this. They want, you know what I'm saying? So just fucking chill, everybody.
Right. If it does more harm than good is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with
time.
self-awareness as well. Like going back to saying you're comfortable in your skin with who you are as a person to where you don't have to be mad just to be mad.
Yeah.
And even like whether you are like your sexuality or your gender, any of those things, when you're comfortable, you act different. Things kind of roll off of your shoulders differently. You feel a little at ease when you are discussing facts. Like some of the stuff that you're talking, this is a fact. The brains don't develop until this time.
Yeah.
Why are we going to still be upset when we know that these choices are going to really come back later on? Having, hearing about the woman, I didn't know about that, about the boxer.
Yeah.
And you see it a lot in sports. I grew up playing sports. So I could imagine the conversation. There was a point in time to where we now have, if there isn't a female sport for it, that a woman can go and play on the team. If there is no female football team, then a woman can go and play on the football team. They're all just steps and conversations that have to be had so that everybody has a right. So there will be a time there is probably going to be some laws, some rules, some regulation that does state if you've transitioned at this point in time, then technically, or maybe whatever's going on inside of you now is saying that it's an unfair advantage. I don't know. It's crazy because the conversation is going to continue for years, and there probably aren't.
It's just starting.
It's just starting. I mean, come on, abortion laws and all these things these have been going on forever, and we're just now. So I can imagine that 20 years from now, we're going to be having a conversation with somebody else about clubs in schools, and everybody, maybe there's going to be a new term, a whole new class of human that's going to be developed that we're just going to have to figure out how to go. But I think that it's great that you're able to speak about it.
It's also just about like not only caring about things that like, it's also about being trans or being part of a minority group and not only caring about things within that group.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I'm speaking about like, the unfairness of some trans women in women's sports, it's like, am I not allowed to care about women playing sports too?
Yeah.
Like there's like high school girls who are getting like their championships being taken by trans female students. And it's like, am I not supposed to care about that because I'm trans and that just means I'm on this side and that, you know what I mean? Am I not supposed to care about kids going on medication that sterilizes them, makes them so they can never have kids? Am I not supposed to care about that because I'm in it for me and just everyone please accept me?
That's what's silly, right? It's like they want to say it's important to have the conversation, but then they get mad if you're on the other side of the conversation.
Try talking about sex in schools. Just even talking about condoms and protection starts riots outside. It's insane to talk about that, let alone somebody giving up. That's a major decision. You will never be, if you take this right now, you'll never be able to have kids. Okay, I'm a child. I'm going to make that choice because I don't want to have kids right now.
Yeah, it's like it's just crazy. And to be real, even I'm 26 and I transitioned at 20. Even at 20, that wasn't something I was really thinking about. Like I couldn't picture myself in a happy relationship where I wanted a family and wanted like that sort of like concept of my future. Whereas now I'm engaged and I'm an adult and I'm self-sufficient and I have a job and I'm thinking like maybe that is something that I want. I don't think I can. Like I've been on hormones for years. Like I'm you know what I mean? It's just about having the conversations, but an actual conversation, like you said, not just a one person talking in a direction and then nothing can come back from that.
You ever get tired of talking about trans issues? You ever just want us to ask you about movies and shit?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny because I was just about to say this is a part of the problem.
Absolutely. I don't mind it because like at the end of the day, to be frank, it pays my bills.
Right.
But I'll also, there is more to me. So that's why I do try to diversify my content and post like other stuff as well.
Okay. Well, we're not paying you shit. So what do you like to do? What do you like to do in your spare time?
Oh my God. I just like rolling around LA. I like shopping. I like going out with my friends.
Where are you from originally?
Northern California.
Oh, NorCal.
Yeah.
Okay. What part?
From Chico, California.
Chico, where's that?
It's like a college town.
Where the prison
It's a
is.
college town. Where's a prison?
There's a prison out there?
There's a prison there? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm the only one.
I was like,
Wow, guys.
There was a prison.
Wow.
well, I stay in damn near Stockton, so I'm really, yes.
I've driven through there.
Yeah, that's what you normally do. You drive through,
You
the
drive-
hell out.
Yeah, that's where most of the people who are in the Chico State Prison are now.
So how did you and your man meet?
So he was a subscriber. And it's kind of like a traditional, like not traditional. It's kind of like a typical like slide in the DMs moment. Like he was messaging me A few times. A few times. Yeah.
And the worst part is you can look, I'd be like, really all up in it. We got to tell people to stay out the DMs. We're like, well, guess what? You can get engaged.
Actually, you can live happily ever after.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Shoot your shot. Just not over here.
I don't even check DMs anymore, really. But yeah, so he was a subscriber and a supporter, and we align like really clearly on like all of our views, and we have just so much in common. And I gave him a chance, and I was willing to hang out. And I don't know if it was love at first sight, but it was definitely like, okay, you're like my new person at first sight type of thing.
Felt the vibes.
Yeah. So, and we moved in like after only 3 months of knowing each other.
Damn.
Which is psycho, and I don't advise that.
You knew him for 3 months. He knew you.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. I try not to think about that. He has like a whole year on me in our relationship.
Just make it scary.
like, don't worry,
so are
babe.
you sure you guys views align, or did he just copy everything?
Oh my god.
He's like, oh, no, you like this. I know. I saw that episode.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So how long before you took down the shrine of her in your...
That's flattering. Everybody listening right now is like, oh my God, that's so cute.
No, but like we hit it off really quickly and moved in really quickly, and then got engaged on our 1 year.
Cute.
But I also believe in long engagements. I feel like our relationship happened so quickly that I was like, okay, now that we're at this point, let's chill for a minute, because that's when things are really serious. You know, like I've never been engaged or married before, so we're taking our time, but we're pretty much at the point where we want to do something. Cool. We're just going back and forth between like, and maybe y'all can give me advice, but going back and forth between like big wedding or like elope and take beautiful pictures and go on a crazy vacation to Bora Bora or something.
We all got different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Well, and also here's the thing. In my case, you can do both. So
I just came back from the Maldives and I had a nice.
But
I'm short.
I do
I'm not
understand the thought process of like, what's the point of having a big wedding and paying for a big ass party when I could just use this money and take a dope trip, right?
Yeah.
I had a big ass wedding. Fucking was a lot of money. But I loved it. You know what I'm saying? It was like wifey planned all that. It was all like what she really wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? She picked everything from the drapes to the flowers to the location. You know what I'm saying? I had a little input on the food. That was about it. That's really all I cared about. But she planned it all, and I had such a good time that I want to have another wedding. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing. I love that.
But because of that, I was also like, all right, now give me a few months to re-up on my funds. We and also because she's Canadian, we couldn't go on the honeymoon for like a good year. But we just went to a sweet honeymoon in the Maldives. Seeing a Bora Bora. So yeah, it was dope, man. I think it really depends on what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
For me, it's like wrapping my mind around paying like tens of thousands of dollars for like what feels like other people.
Yeah.
Like a party for other people.
Yeah.
And so, but we're also scared because it's like, you know, what is his mom going to think if like she doesn't have a wedding to go to? But then I'm like, let's just go on like a really cool trip. But you know, we'll figure it out. But
my brother and sister both got married, and they just got married. And yes, as the family involved, you normally go, seriously, we wanted to celebrate this. They're no longer in these marriages, so maybe it was for a reason. Well, they didn't kind of run away and elope. They were like, nah, we're going to get married. They did that way. Yeah. But my sister does say that if she did it again, she would have a nice little wedding. It's not about going all out just because it's different now.
In the backyard, and then spend all that money on a trip. Yeah. I feel like if you have the question, then probably just go on the trip.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, from the way you're saying it right now, it feels like it's really do we really want to?
I feel like you could always do something smaller, and then make it real intimate for you two. There's always like the ceremony that you guys have for yourselves, and the real reason why you're getting married is to connect you two as becoming one. The other stuff is a party. Like if the means aren't there, don't force it. Anybody thinking they have to have this big over the top wedding to appease everybody else is like, then you didn't do it for the right reason.
Exactly.
But and here's the thing too. Having a big wedding will make you want to stay in the marriage more. Because then you'll be
really? Oh, you invested so much.
I spent all this money.
I spent all this money. I had this big old
You over here taking out 1 month, that's $1,000. We're just going to keep deducting until it's paid.
You don't want to look crazy in front of everyone that came.
Exactly. I'd feel silly if after a year, this big ass party.
money. You shouldn't have to stay in it because of the party.
Oh, no, yeah.
Look at yours.
Gotta do it. Gotta force it.
Said, man, I've been wanting to leave. I look at that album. I'm like, God damn,
Shit. He's like, ooh, we are only $70,000 into this marriage right now. We still got a few more years to go.
Marriage is so complicated though too, because we're thinking about like, how do you actually get married? Like, what's the paper you sign? Like, are prenups the right thing or the wrong thing? Like, there's so much legality towards it that makes it feel like so not romantic. And it's like you're adding stress to what was before that, like just a normal like best friendship, really.
Well,
so
technically most marriages were legal arrangements and there was no love involved. So now we're actually in the involved phase of what a marriage is, because before it really was about land, it was about property, it was about
and owning women
or ownership or being able to raise your family. So love, the romantic version of marriage now, is newer than what it actually comes from. So get the legal stuff aside. I don't think prenups are a touchy situation, but if you're really comfortable with your partner, it shouldn't be as touchy, because if you're going to think from a logistic standpoint, if I'm about to sign this piece of paper that is saying I am bound to you forever, you go to jail, I'm dealing with the shit. So that's
jail. Damn, I didn't even think about
that. I didn't know. Is that serious?
I'm sorry, maybe because of the people I date, I got to worry about something going to jail.
Chia's going away forever, bro.
I really think about those things. I'm like, yo, if something happens, credit, all those stuff, because now we are one. But if you can go and have a real conversation, which is what you're doing in a marriage, those type of things, sort that shit out before you're in it. Because what happens when you find out that your person don't know how to pay a damn bill, and now that's your last name, and you're in debt now because of them? I know that's not romantic, but that's the reality that's the real part about.
Just do common law. How long you got to be together?
10 years.
10 years.
I don't even know what common law is. That's just when you're automatically married.
Pretty much. You've been together.
Living together for long enough, they basically considered you a married
Thanks, mom and dad, for putting me up on game. My parents are common law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my parents are common law. My mom was married before, didn't work out. She was like, hell no. My dad was like this, yo, you already did this once. I'm okay with being with you forever. They had whatever legal stuff they had to deal with. So it wasn't, again, it wasn't as romantic, because he was like, yo, we got legal things that are going to hinder this. So let's just be together forever, because you're not going anywhere.
That almost is romantic though, because it's like, you just know for a fact that you're going to be with someone. So it's like,
there's no contract.
The paper doesn't matter.
It's just, it is what it is. And it still
I
is.
choose you every day. That's what that is. That's what that is.
It really is. Once you sign it, it says that we belong to one another. It does turn into a legal thing. It's not as romantic as because, yo, you mess up, I mess up, we mess up. Something happens to me.
Cry.
No,
He already thought about.
No, here's the thing about mine.
I know I'm not romantic.
I was gonna say, here's the thing about mine. She's Canadian, so we had to sign papers. It was all about, like, it's either we do this shit legally or
she gets deported.
How was the engagement? How did that go? Was it dramatic? Did he do the one knee?
So we were at a dinner, and it's crazy because we were actually filming for a TV show that never aired. So we did it on camera, and it sucks that we don't have that to look back on now, because it never came to fruition. I guess we could ask for it.
We should ask for it.
We should ask for it for sure. But, so it was on camera, but it was also like, a lot of people I feel like do that stuff on camera and for their shows, and it's not real. And it's like, okay, we have a camera, so let's do it now. Right. But it actually was, we had always talked about, like, when the 1 year hits, like, I was like, let's do it. Like, I'm not going to be with someone for a year and not know.
Oh, word.
Yeah, no, because in my previous relationships, it was like around a year when I kind of was like, I either know I'm staying or leaving. So I was like, by 1 year, I'll know. So, but it was actually beautiful. We cried, which was weird because there was like a camera right here. So that part was weird. But regardless, it's just been good. Like, a lot of trans people cite that, like, it's hard to date and stuff like that. I haven't personally found that to be the case, but it is nice to have someone who accepts you fully for who you are, for your past, for your present, and for whatever they expect your future to be, because my life is so up in the air and my career is really weird and it goes a million different places. So it's just nice to have, like, your best friend.
Everybody's looking for their person.
Yeah,
everybody's just looking for their person, or maybe they're not.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're not. But do you guys believe someone when they say they're like satisfied and single and don't ever want someone? I never believe them. I'm like,
It depends on the person.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the time of your life too. And like I definitely had a happy single, this is great time, and then and then I think we kind of get to a point where you're like, I would like to just come back to one person every night. Yeah.
And I think some like older people who have had enough bad people have just been soured on
Completely
the whole
over
idea.
it.
It's like, I'd rather be alone than try to find a good person.
And sometimes people just gotta be alone because they're messed up and they're like, damn, I might have been the problem the whole time. Let me fix this first before I get I'm talking about myself.
Yep.
So, that's why I say don't bother me. I'm working on me. Stay away. You don't want this. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with you. You don't DM me yet. I'll let you know when I go. When I'm
Why she pointing at us? We ain't trying to talk to
No, it was the invisible person there, an invisible person there.
So I always tell people, man, if you're a single man, divorcee ladies are the most fun. You know what I'm saying? They don't be wanting no commitment. They don't want to deal with no drama. They just want the D and then get out.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. What else are you working on in terms of your channel or any future projects that we should know about?
oh my gosh, I'm writing a book. Hoping to finish that soon.
You're actually writing it. A lot of YouTubers
yeah.
don't write their own books, you know.
Well,
Someone's
a lot of
writing my book.
I'm paying someone to write my life story. No, I'm actually writing a book, and that'll be out in 2020 for sure.
Sweet.
I'm working on self-funding a tour right now because I've been screwed over by tour companies before because I do public speaking events and stuff like that. So, and I have a show in San Francisco next week.
Hey.
So the tour, the book, I'm going to get married in 2020 for sure. So like kind of a lot actually, like a lot. And then just other stuff.
Are we going to be able to watch your wedding on YouTube?
I don't think so.
No?
I think I'll post a really beautiful picture on Instagram or something and call that a day.
Is your book going to be kind of about you, or is it going to be about a specific topic?
It's going to be sort of everything. Because people ask that, they're like, what is it, like an autobiography? Is it like all politics, whatever? I'm like, it's actually everything anyone who's ever watched me either casually or faithfully and loyally would ever want out of a book for me. So it's my life story, and it's also all the issues people care about when they watch me, and pictures. It's like a lot of just really cool stuff.
Sweet.
Most importantly, will we hear a response to the diss track?
Oh my God. Probably not.
Damn it. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. This was so much fun. You
Hope
guys
you had
are
a
great.
good time. For sure. Well, hey, make sure y'all follow Blaire on everything. Thanks for watching the podcast. As always, I'm Timothy Del Ghetto.
I'm Ricky Shucks.
And I'm Nikki Blades.
Bye.
Homegirl, you been on my mind. I've been fantasizing about you all the time. You been going dummy on you sauna con. How I caught up every lady on my line. Hey,
is this a dream or did I wake up in a fantasy? They throwing shade, but I would rather rent a canopy. We, you, with something see-through. We so legendary, queen, we DQ. And this the preview. Let's make life a movie. You be the star.